Hello, Harvard. Last week I promised an update on the conversation that the elders and I have been having about when we would reopen the church, and this is that update. So our target date for meeting all together as a church again is Sunday, July 5th. And our thinking behind that is that if the current trends continue, we should be in phase 4 of reopening society at that point, which means that we're allowed to have groups of 50 or less meeting. And so as a result, we can get back together, but it will mean that we're going to have to do that in 2 services. And I think we're planning on something like 9 and 11. There's still some conversation that's happening around times. There isn't going to be any Sunday school when we start meeting back together. We're going to wait for things to reopen a little bit more before we start having Sunday school and all of those things. But that also means that there won't be nursery. Social distancing is not possible in a nursery situation, and so we're going to be all together at first. I'm actually really excited about that. It means that Pastor Jason and I are going to have to be very creative about a family service idea, and I think that's a good thing. But it also means that there's likely going to be disruptions from little people, to which I say, I love families, bring it on. I think it's going to be a fun environment. With regards to some of the practical concerns about safety and reopening, we are going to require that people wear masks. We do, as a church, have some disposable ones, but it's time for you to look into getting your own masks if you don't have those yet. We're going to use painter's tape, and we're going to mark out the pews on where people can sit so that we're able to maintain social distancing. And we're also going to have a streamlined way of entering and exiting the building. Bulletins, communion, all of those kinds of things. We've actually bought prepackaged little communion cups. All of those kinds of things that you might need to carry out a service, we're going to have on a table for people to just pick up and grab. And we're going to have things like freestanding hand sanitizers at the entrances, the motorized kind that you don't have to touch. You just put your hand under and it spits out some of that sanitizer. And we're trying to think through things like, all right, how are you going to work the bathroom situation? There's still some ongoing conversations there. Now, in giving you all of this information, if your head is starting to spin a little bit and you're thinking, there's no way that I can remember all of that, that's fine. This is the first of many communications. I'll send this all out in an email in the coming weeks. And also, in the week leading up to the time when we all get back together, I'm going to make another video where I just am walking through the building and describing everything and pointing everything out, so that even if it's hard to follow in print and in my convoluted announcement messages, maybe it'll be a little more clear when I make an actual video of it. Now, one of the things that we are going to need to do in between services, we're going to need to wipe down surfaces. And that's going to be a semi-large task. And so if that is something that you would like to volunteer for, we would like to hear from you. Shoot us an email if that's a way that you would like to volunteer. Just yesterday, on Tuesday, I was on a Zoom meeting with 10 other pastors who are pastors of local churches in our area, and it was fascinating to talk with them about how we're thinking about reopening. In terms of time frame, one of them has already reopened. Quite a few of them are going to wait until the fall before they reopen. They're not even going to try it before September. There are a couple that are aiming for July as we are, but they're going to be meeting outside first to try to give it a trial run. It was just good to connect with all of those guys and put our heads together. But listening to them talk and keeping in mind all the ways that the elders and I have been talking through this situation, it really gave me confidence. We're thinking in the right way. We seem to be on the right track in the middle of a very interesting time in our culture and in church culture. As we were talking as elders and as we've been meeting together on Sunday mornings to pray for all of you, we're excited to see all of you. We love you. We miss you. We want to connect in a way that builds one another up while still being mindful of the ways that we can keep everybody healthy. What a crazy time in our culture, isn't it? That's it for now on the reopening conversation. I do want to say that the Psalm devotional for this week, look for that at the end of the week. I'm going to hopefully speak into our current cultural moment from the perspective of the Psalms, but as I'm sure you can imagine, my head is swimming through the events of the last 10 days. I am still very much processing. So while I do want to bring the Psalms to bear on our current cultural moment, I'm doing that with a little bit of fear and trembling, friends. And so look for that video at the end of the week. I love you. Lord willing, we'll see one another soon.